Hello grapplers and welcome to a new video. Whenever he's trying to use his plus frames, he will go for a grab or a strike, and depending on the situation, I'd say more than 99%, the two best options the opponent can do backdash or forward jumps. Zangief does not have any kind of answer, a specific answer against those. He has to guess, how can you stop people from that backdashing or forward jumps? Which are the best options in terms of frames that are either fast or give enough frames to Zangief in order to continue the pressure. The most common one is obviously headbutt, +4. So you basically have a strike throw mix-up. The same thing applies with a drive rush, crouching light punch. This thing gives you a +5, which is pretty good, and the pushback is not that high, especially if you go for something really close, like let's say something like this. Zangief usually is not that plus. Usually he's not +4 or +5 on block without using a drive rush, as is the case with crouching light punch. So you do have more options, but personally I feel crouching light punch, drive rush, and just raw headbutt are the easiest ones to use in most scenarios. With a +4, your best mix-up is definitely Hell Stab or grab. If you guess incorrectly and the opponent forward jumps and you go for a throw, either regular throw or SPD, you will whiff it. It's very hard to use a crosscut Super 1 or Lariat. You have to block or parry. In the case of backdashes, if you go for a throw and they backdash, it'll depend on the character. There are some characters who have a 25 frame backdash, like Zangief, Marisa, or Manon. Other characters have a 23 backdash, even Dalsim is 23, that is the standard for a backdash. And some like Lily have a 24 frame backdash. Kami is on the fast side, so her backdash is 23. So if you go for something like that and she backdashes, she will be +3. You're not punishable in this state, but you have to be very careful because her crouching medium kick will connect you if you go for any button. If you go for a throw, even if you use headbutt or obviously crouching light punch, you're gonna be punished. This is a good point to address one of the main issues with Zangief. As I said, you don't have any kind of option that covers both. If you go for a grab, you expect the opponent to be standing still. And if they backdash or forward jump, you're likely gonna either be punished or you're gonna completely lose your turn. Say you guess the opponent backdashing. Usually the best option is Hell Stab, especially if you're plus enough. For example, with a +5 from this, you have 2 frames. They cannot escape in 2 frames with a backdash, nor a jump. Here you can confirm the Hell Stab into Lariat. So what happens when you're not close and maybe you don't have enough frames? And these are situations where things become a little dicey with Zangief. As we are testing now, you're really close. You're close with a +5, you're really close with a +4. So let's say you're spaced. Hell Stab will whiff. For example here. How do you stop that backdash? So, for example, standing medium punch. This usually catches all jumps and all backdashes. You're catching the backdash, but very late into the animation. Same thing happens with a forward jump. You're catching them in the air, so you're basically using an air reset at this point. However, that is not a frame trap. You're going for a guess, and that is something that has to stick with you. If you want to stop backdashes or forward jumps, you have to guess, and you're most likely sacrificing a possible frame trap to try to stop that. You're trying to use your plus frames here, so usually you're gonna go for a crouching light punch or standing light punch into something rather than a crouching light kick or standing light kick, where you're minus. So in this case, we're using a standing light punch. Same thing applies. Standing medium punch is really good at catching forward jumps. If she wants to backdash, there's not much you can do. At this point, very likely you have to follow Kami with a drive rush or use a standing heavy punch if you're over here. Not ideal. Really not ideal. Also be careful with crouching medium kick. You're not catching the jump. And same thing applies with the standing light punch. This is good for backdashes, however. So at this point, you might have guessed lows are not really good at catching jumps because you don't have enough frames, and these are really low hitting hitboxes. If you want to go for a low to stop a jump, you need more frames. So in that case, something like that. The +5, because even with a +4, you'll see you're not catching this Kami. So in the end, what's going on over here? If you have enough frames, you can go for a low. If you are +5 or more, you can go for a low and you should be able to catch a forward jump and a backdash, if you are obviously within a range. Because backdashes are very difficult to punish sometimes because you might be too far. And so even a really long button like standing medium kick might not connect. Your best option is definitely wait and see them backdashing. So you then make a mental note. You can maybe go for something like this and try to follow them, or even go for something like this. If they're forward jumping, you can use the +1, +2 to stop the forward jumps with standing medium punch. However, that is not a really good frame trap. So you need to know they want to forward jump. If that is not the case, if you have more frames, you can go for lows. And that's fine. From the +5 onwards, you can go for a low and you should be able to catch them, especially if you use crouching medium kick. If you want to use sweep, you might need more frames. If you're really close, your best option if you're within +4 and +6 is Hell Stab. You can hit confirm that into Larry. If you have a +8 or even more, then your options are kinda limited, which is weird because you have more frames, but in reality, your options are even more limited. So with a +8 onwards, you lose the Hell Stab because the Hell Stab at that point is a true block string. So what do you have? You have a standing medium kick, crouching medium kick, and a standing medium punch. The +10 situation is not really good for Zangief. That is not the topic of today. At some point, we're gonna discuss the plus frames with Zangief. So to summarize, if you're +4 to +6, Hell Stab is your best option if you're close. If you are far, you can use less frames into standing medium punch, or use a +4, +5 with a crouching medium kick. The more frames you have, the more you need to depend on standing medium punch, crouching medium kick, and standing medium kick. It all depends on how close you are and the position of Zangief. There's definitely a situation where Zangief needs to let go of the opponent if they're backdashing from here. You don't have options to catch them. You have to risk it. It's very important to read the match and see how backdashes they're going for. Also very significant, they can parry. Since this is basically we're using strikes, they can wait and perfect parry your strike, especially if the gap between the strike and the button is 2 frames or less. They can match the parry. But then, as you know, you have to mix your grabs with your strikes in order to not be that predictable and forcing the opponent to basically guess themselves on defense. But it is true, backdashes are really hard to catch. Sadly, it's not the best scenario for us with Zangief. He's a character that really struggles with those 2 movement options, and you do have to recognize that. If someone you're playing is going for a lot of backdashes or even forward jumps, it means they know the matchup. So you do have to be extra careful with those people. But that is it. Sadly, I don't have a fantastic tech against those 2 things. As always, if you really like this video, please hit subscribe. If you want to see something, just let me know. I always read the comments. Thanks so much for your support and keep playing Grapplers. Have a great week and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.